Hey everybody, how you doing? You might notice I got kind of a badass scratch up on my head. I wanted to tell you a neat story, like I got in a bar fight on New Year's Eve, and that's where the beer bottle hit me or something. But no, truth is I was clearing some brush and a tree branch attacked me. So if you notice that scratch, that's what's going on there. Another topic from chapter 1 that I want to talk about is inflation and interest rates, and the two are intertwined. You probably already have a sense for what inflation is. Inflation is the rate at which prices of goods are increasing. Historically, the inflation rate has been 2.5 or 3% per year. Throw in the rule of 72. If prices are going up 3% a year, how long would it take prices to double? 72 divided by 3 is 24 years. So every 24 years, prices approximately double. This is 2020, so go back 24 years, 1996. Look up what the price of a Coke was or a car, and I think you'll see that it's pretty much doubled in that time period. So it all works out. The rate of inflation is measured by the Consumer Price Index, the CPI. I like this measurement because it's logical. What the government does is go out, they have this list of 300 goods and services. They go out and buy all of those goods and services, and they look at the total bill. Then they go out and buy those same 300 goods and services a month later. They compare the two totals, and based on that, they say, okay, prices have gone up X%. And they do that every month and every year. So you can go back and look at what the CPI is going back, I don't know, 75 plus years, and you can compare how prices were in 1950 to what they are today. You can tell the percent increase or percent change from one year to another. Inflation, CPI, also relates to, or another term used to describe that is purchasing power. How much can you buy with $1? So as inflation goes up, purchasing power goes down. Now let's go into interest rates. And as I said, those are intertwined. So give me a moment. Let me switch to my high-tech whiteboard. There we go. So let's say that you want to go and borrow $1,000 from a bank. And you want to borrow it for 1 year. The bank is going to charge you an interest rate. Let's say they charge you 6% on that loan. So you're going to borrow $1,000 at 6%. So 1 year from now, you're going to have to pay back $1,060. How do they come up with this interest rate of 6%? There's several components. First off, the bank has a cost of money. The bank has to get their money from somewhere. Banks can borrow from other banks. They can borrow from the Federal Reserve. They can also encourage you to put money in a savings account or in a certificate of deposit, a CD, and they will pay you some interest on that money. But then while it's sitting there, they're going to go ahead and make loans with it. So their money has a cost. Let's say their cost of money is 1.5%. So that's part of this 6%. Another part of the formula is going to be the risk premium. When the bank lends you money, they're taking a risk that you're not going to pay it back. And they're going to analyze how risky you are. We'll talk about it more later in the semester, but they're going to look at credit score, your capacity, your income, your job security, and a lot of factors to determine whether you're likely to pay it back or whether you're pretty risky. And the more the risk you are, the greater the premium that they're going to charge. Let's say that they charge you a 2.5% risk premium. Okay, next factor that goes into the cost, your interest rate, is if the bank gives you $1,000 today and you pay them back in the future, they want to make sure that when you pay them back, that $1,000 that they gave you has the same purchasing power as the money they gave you, right? It wouldn't do any good if they gave you $1,000, but then you paid them back $1,000. But at that point, because of inflation, they could only go out and buy $900 worth of stuff with that money. That wouldn't work out, right? So they want to make sure that they get back the same amount of purchasing power. So what they're going to do is build into the interest rate the expected rate of inflation. They're going to take an estimate that I think over the course of this year, prices are going to go up 2%. So therefore, for my money, when I get it back to have the same amount of purchasing power, I'm going to build that 2% into the interest rate. And that's how banks come up with an interest rate. Interest rates, whenever you hear an interest rate, it always has the expected rate of inflation built into the interest rate. So when inflation is high, when prices are going up rapidly, interest rates will also be rising. And when inflation is very low, like it is today, you're going to see lower interest rates. So understand, expected rate of inflation is not the only factor going into interest rates, but it is built in there. One last comment I want to make. You need to appreciate that right now, interest rates and the rate of inflation, but interest rates in particular, are at crazy, crazy low levels right now. Here's a chart of mortgage rates. The interest rate you'd have to pay, whoops, I'm sorry. Let me share my screen so you can see what the hell I'm talking about. There we go. This is a chart of mortgage rates over time, the interest rate you'd be charged if you wanted to borrow money to buy a house. This chart goes from, I don't know, somewhere in the early to mid 1960s to the present. This is the lowest interest rates ever in my lifetime. And in truth, if you wanted to go to find interest rates this low, you would have to go back to World War II in the 1940s. Interest rates are so crazy low that I'm going to tell you these are probably the lowest interest rates you will see in your entire lifetime. It's got pretty well nowhere to go but up. So I just wanted to give you some historical perspective to when you hear about interest rates right now and you see them advertised, know that this is not normal. This is historically low territory for interest rates. Okay, I hope you understand a little bit about inflation, consumer price index, and interest rates and how inflation is built into interest rates. Thank you.